Welcome back, everyone, for another ISSA Talk. I feel like I've been on hiatus for a while, but I'm glad to be back with an amazing guest who's been on our podcast as well. So keep an ear out for the episode with American Barbell. Welcome back, Mr. Doug Katona. How are you?
Doing fabulous. Good to connect with you again. Always good to see your smiling face, even though I know your voice is a little trashed.
It is. It's volleyball season. We were talking about this offline. It is volleyball season. You know, it's conference season for you and teaching season. So our voices are little sensitive instruments, and mine is a little strained right now, but we're going to do this. I'm super excited to chat with you. And of course, ISSA is now developing a partnership with American Barbell. Super great partnership. And again, it's not just so that we can toot our own horn and say we know everybody. We're offering some really great things for our students. So I'm excited for you to share more about what that partnership looks for and what our students looks like and what our students can expect from that partnership. But Doug, for those who haven't heard the podcast or who don't know who you are, start by introducing yourself, and then we'll talk a little bit about American Barbell.
Yeah. So CEO, partner, and also the head of training and education for American Barbell. I always say that the industry chose me. I never chose it. I was kind of one of those athletes turned what do I do people. So I did my undergraduate work at the University of Southern California. Fight on, go Trojans. And I did my graduate work at Concordia. And I was always kind of one of these athletes that understood the foundational benefits of strength and conditioning and kind of had a natural innate sense of coaching people and understanding body movement, while I also had this bias towards understanding product development and things like that. So I literally started out as a personal trainer back in the day and grew some gyms together with another partner. And when I exited there, became an athletic training consultant for Lee Steinberg, who was the Jerry Maguire subject of the Jerry Maguire movie. And have been around athletes and movement and exercise science and programming my entire life. And gosh, I still haven't woken up one day not wanting to go to work. The industry really has been good to me. And it really, for those of you listening, if you can sink your teeth into just, programming and basic movement stuff, that's where the industry is going. And the whole strength and conditioning is coming back. And I'm so happy that it is, but that's where the trends are. So yeah, super excited.
Absolutely. And I agree, Doug, that the strength and conditioning, that focus of performance, whatever that means for someone, is absolutely coming back, because people want to not just live long, they want to be functional and moving, like not just sitting in a chair for the last 10 years of their life. So I love that as well. So what brought you to American Barbell?
So I probably in the mid 2000s, as I was transitioning, I was brought on as the COO of World Gym International. And the charge there was to basically grow the franchise network and then develop something that we exploded over the course of 2 years throughout Canada and the US called World Gym Athletics. And it was a combination of designing strength and conditioning rooms with metal product, barbells, and making it almost feel like a Division I or a professional football strength and conditioning room, because that's where I had a lot of experience. And through that, got to know the benefits of American Barbell. And I knew the founder in a prior life, and I knew the president at the time. And the synergy was just there. And then when COVID hit, I started talking to the founder, and we just found, hey, this was a perfect fit for us. Let's join forces. And that's what we did. And that's kind of what's happened over, I would say, over the course of 3.5 years. American Barbell has really become, intentionally, has become a recognizable brand. But we've really innovated, right? We've brought on some very unique product. We're in it, right? Like a lot of other equipment manufacturers like us, they're not like us. We actually train on our stuff. I'm training every day on our stuff. I'm in gyms all week. I'm that guy. I'm not the CEO that sits around and yes, I look at the finances, of course, but I don't. That's not me, right? And the founder is the same way. You can find him out on the floor of our warehouse with a welding helmet on, still innovating some of the best product in the world. So we're kind of these roll up your sleeves guys that honestly do it sincerely because we just dig it. We love it.
I love that. Now, speaking of the equipment, Doug, talk to us a little bit about some of the equipment that you guys have been innovating and creating. And I know a barbell is not a barbell, right? We can't say that all barbells are created equal. So talk to us a little bit about the difference with what you guys have created.
I mean, think of it when you walk into a bakery and you see a phenomenal, well-designed, artistic cake that you don't want to eat because it looks so good and you know that the ingredients in it are amazing. That's kind of the ethos, if you will, behind the product. You know, the barbells, there's a proprietary blend of the steel, which is really important to know. The tolerances, meaning the space between the materials that we use, makes our bars extremely quiet. And also they'll last a lifetime, but yet they're at an approachable price because, hey, I was that guy not making a lot of money and I knew the value of value. So we've really kind of leaned into that. And keep in mind, you know, we're very well known as an OEM company, right? So we make product for a lot of the very large chains that you know about and some of the other equipment manufacturers that we actually make their product. So we've kind of been known on that, but now we're this forward-facing training, education, and equipment innovators, if you will. But a lot of the bars, you know, polished sleeves on our barbells, and you know, this is something that I have. It's called a race that the barbells go inside of. This is a very unique piece of our product that allows the rotation of the barbell inside this race. This is actually a needle bearing, like a needle bar that you'd compete with. We tend to spend a little bit more money on these types of products than our competitors will, but we do it for a reason. So I'm okay giving up a little bit of margin to be able to provide something that's it's a Ferrari at a BMW price, or less than. So yeah, I mean, that's really it. Anything with our product is, you're going to find that the pedigree is the same across the board, whether it be our new metal product. I mean, honestly, I wasn't going to bring this up, but I will. Our new platform, our drop zone technology, is the best in the world. I encourage you to go out. You can go out to most gyms now and find it, 24-hour Fitness and a lot of the other ones that we've done. But yeah, I mean, that's just across the board because we train on the stuff and we beat it up. You come into my garage gym and you'll see stuff that we're beating up right now because that's what I train on.
Love it. And one thing you pointed out that I wasn't aware of, that you guys make equipment unbranded and sell it to other companies. And I love that because they recognize that what you guys are creating is the best and superior as well. And for those of you guys who aren't familiar with that type of concept, think of, like, I'll give you two examples. Lululemon, right? We all know what Lululemon is. It's kind of a higher price point, out of reach for some people. But did you know, hint, hint, wink, wink, you can go to Costco and a lot of their athletic wear is made by, you see the same lines, the same stitching, the same cuts. It just doesn't have a logo on it. It's literally, we call it Lupe Lemon with my friends, but it's literally the same stuff without the logo on it. You're welcome. Another great example, Rolex. Everybody knows what a Rolex is, super high-end watches. They used to make the timepiece, the actual mechanical parts, for Omega, right? My husband's a watch guy, so I know this, right? It matters, right? Sometimes you don't have to buy the Ferrari point to get.
And I would say, so Jenny, that's a great point, because what I would also say is, if you're searching for a high quality product, let's forget about fitness for the moment, you probably need to do some research.
Yeah.
Do some research on the people that are making it, meaning the company that's making it. And if you find somebody that was making stuff like Bosch headlights is a great example, right? You know, Ferrari or McLaren or whoever can use, but they're going to Bosch because those are the best. Yeah. Right. And people are coming to us, you know, again, some of the best equipment brands that, we're making those barbells and urethane bumper plates. They're ours, but they're putting their name on it, and they may be a much larger company than us. Right. So
yeah, love that. And one thing my husband always says is, don't buy things from companies that don't make that thing. Right. You wouldn't go to Gucci to buy a watch. Gucci doesn't sell watches.
Well, and watches. The founder of our company says an interesting thing too. He goes, look, if keep in mind that fitness equipment can be dangerous. Stuff can break. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of liability in it. In other words, Phil, our founder, says, you wouldn't go into a strip mall if you needed heart surgery, would you?
Right.
You go to somebody that's qualified, that's been around the block a few times, that's experimented, that's also failed, that's got to the point where they know what those ingredients should be in that cake to make it taste the best, but also that's not going to kill you.
Yeah. at that part.
Right?
This is not how I'm going to die today.
No, not at all.
I love it. So you mentioned the drop zone technology, the barbells, of course,
Yep.
the bumper plates. What other types of equipment? What other pieces do you guys have?
Probably the most well known for a lot of you that are listening. You could probably go into any Planet Fitness and see it. You know, we have something called a Series 1 dumbbell. It's actually a patented dumbbell. We always say the more you drop it, the stronger it gets. It's a splined patented technology that doesn't even really technically require a bolt on the dumbbell head to keep the dumbbell on. It's a urethane dumbbell. We make them for all the Marines, for example. There's been, gosh, I don't know the exact number now, well over 2 million pairs made with, I don't know, 1 or 2 returns maybe.
Nice.
So again, it's just part of the pedigree of the product. And now that we're kind of resuscitating strength and conditioning in the industry, we've really leaned into the metal product. I think the industry, you know, the whole functional training thing is, I don't really know if I understand the word functional anyway, because isn't it all functional?
Yeah.
And I think that I'm glad to see strength and conditioning coming back. And that just lends, that's our wheelhouse. That's what we do. I'm not going to make an electrical treadmill, right?
Yeah.
I'll call my buddy Paul over at Aerosalt and he can take care of you for that. But for me, it's we're going to stay doing what we're good at, right? I'm not going to go out. I'm not going to try to make stuff we're not good at.
Absolutely. So I love the fact that everything is so sturdy. The more you use it, the better it gets, kind of like it ages like fine wine. And I love that. So whether you work in a commercial space, which is why you guys are in so many commercial spaces and showing up everywhere. I see you guys everywhere. All the gyms that I go to, LA Fitness and the Village here in Arizona, your stuff is everywhere, which is awesome. In a lot of high touch environment, right? Lots of people touching it, messing with it, using it correctly or not, who knows? But whether you're buying it for a commercial environment or if you're a private trainer or an in-home trainer like I do, and you take your equipment with you, it's valuable to have things that aren't going to break, that are reliable, that you know any client should be able to use. So I love that.
Yeah. And I think too, you know, my wife would love this. I'm a neat freak, right? And so is Phil, our founder. We bring the same approach to our product. Like I want product that's going to look really good 5 or 10 years from now under heavy usage. And that's part of our development process, is to assess that, right? I mean, I've got an American Barbell original, we call it a USMC Red. It's a red Cerakote barbell that I've had in my garage gym for 7 years. And I clean it, I take care of it, other than my cat sleeping on it once in a while. But it's, you know, it looks as good as it does today as it did 7 years ago. And all those tolerances, everything is, you know, is perfect. So we, you know, maybe that's our fault because we're going to make stuff that lasts a long time. So if you buy a barbell from us, me and I have to buy another one. Maybe that's a bad business move on our side. But no, that's our intention, is that, hey, we care about our stuff. We want it to last a long time and look good.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So speaking of, I have some other questions for you about some equipment, but what does the partnership with ISSA and American Barbell look like? What can our students expect from that?
It's great. It's a great synergistic relationship. So we're going to help ISSA with promoting the vast amount of online seminars and certifications that you all do, which I think you are the best. We are the best at doing live seminars on powerlifting, weightlifting. We're even doing running mechanics. The coaching and leadership development is really exploding. We're doing a lot of work with New York sports clubs. The CEO, Bill McMenemy, great visionary. So really it's elevating fitness, right? What I believe ISSA is trying to do and Andrew's trying to do is really elevate the quality of fitness, right? Not cheapen it. And so I buy into that narrative. And so, you know, we're helping ISSA on the live seminar side, and we're feeling comfortable to say, look, ISSA has the power and the strength to do what you guys do best, right? That's something we don't do, and we do stuff you don't do. So it's a perfect marriage.
Amazing. So as far as the live sessions that you guys have and the equipment, are there any discounts being offered to the ISSA student or member?
Yeah, it varies from 10 to 20%, right, which is really good, by the way. But you guys have a code as ISSA members and all that. So yeah, that's all available, and you can just hit the website for that.
Perfect. And we will link that in the description of this episode, guys. So you'll have all the information that you need to log in and gain access to that discount, because who doesn't love a good discount.
Of
So I
course.
love that. So those of you guys who are looking for your own equipment or equipment that you can use with clients, because again, that hybrid training or in person where you bring your equipment and stuff, again, that's my specialty. It's becoming a lot bigger, and we can still take equipment with us.
And the nice thing with us is that we own our own factory as well. So there's a lot of other things like, slam ball, med ball, all the other stuff that you really need to completely outfit something. We've evolved into that. So it's not like you have to go to, 20 different places. It's all kind of under one roof. And that was kind of our intention anyway. But I was on that side of the fence for a long time. I understand it. It's not very fun to have to source multiple different products, and then you're paying more for shipping and everything else.
Oh yeah, I know all about that, Doug, because it took me 6 years to build what I have in my garage right now, and it's a lot of equipment that I carry with me for my athletes and my clients.
Yeah.
And sourcing it, finding it the right price, and the shipping, especially on the heavy stuff.
Well, that's it.
You can double your cost doing that way, and
That's right.
buying it from multiple places. Yeah, it gets to be really expensive for sure.
Well, and we're good because we're shipping out. We have warehouse in Las Vegas and Memphis. So depending upon where people live, it actually saves a little bit of money too, because you're not buying something from a place out of California, for example, and shipping it to New York, which is really expensive.
Absolutely. That makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Now, Doug, as far as the equipment goes, is there any single piece of equipment that you would recommend any trainer use with any client or have themselves?
This is one of my favorite questions.
Nice.
So there's one piece of equipment, and I was training people for a long time, that you should have if you wanted to do the most variety of exercises, squat, press, deadlift, and it's a barbell. It really is, right? I mean, not just because I'm a barbell guy, but what can't you? I mean, anything from a good morning to a deadlift to a squat to a press to a clean. You could curl with it. You could lunge. There's so many things you can do. And oh, by the way, if you're training correctly, you should be getting stronger. You should be moving more load, and you can just keep putting more load on a barbell. So yeah, I would say a barbell by far. And outside of that, obviously, I'm going to say a pair of dumbbells. So, I wish when I travel, because I travel a lot, that I could find more barbells in hotel gyms, but usually I go straight to the dumbbells. So I would say it's one of those two pieces.
Amazing. And that aligns actually very closely, Doug, with what I was going to say next is the exercise variety. Yes, variety is great. Too much variety, not so great, right? That's just like a human thing. But the two pieces of equipment you just named, the barbell and the dumbbell, you have some pretty massive exercise variety that you can do with those two pieces of equipment. Is there anything else that you would add?
The only thing I would add from the personal trainer or coach perspective is I think what I see when I go into a lot of gyms, I see focus on the barbell and the dumbbell stuff. I see a lot of trainers that are trying to almost, I don't want to say make up exercises, but they're doing so much accessory driven movements that really don't complement what the person really needs most of the time from a personal trainer perspective. Like if you can squat, press, and deadlift, and you just programmed off of those three movements, you're probably going to be really successful. And if you just focused on skill and technique of how people move, they're not going to get hurt. They want to learn more. And I mean, I've been squatting, pressing, and deadlifting for 25 years, and I'm still learning all the time. So I always say, to be effective as a fitness professional, less is more, but make sure that you get those basic fundamentals set. And people don't care how many exercises it's how many you can do really well and teach them how to move efficiently. I think that's my advisement for trainers on that stuff.
Absolutely. And all the exercises you just named there, Doug, are great foundational exercises for human movement in general. Correct. Absolutely applicable to everyday life. And there's no reason that every client shouldn't be doing those things unless they have some kind of contraindication, of course. Does it mean that every single one of them needs to do them as heavy as possible? No, that's not what we're saying.
You are correct, Coach.
Right. We want to modify and use them appropriately. Because I always tell people, when people say, oh, everybody should be deadlifting, I would say, do you want to tell my 77-year-old mother with a knee replacement and a bad hip that she's going to go deadlift really heavy? I'll stand back and let her smack you.
We did some seminars a couple weeks ago in New York, and somebody said something along those lines, right? And I said, which you're correct in what you said. I said, you can vision them out to eventually they will be dead. So if I said deadlift, that doesn't mean you're pulling it from the ground. You may
Right.
be doing a rack pull. You may be doing some sort of modification. So even though people have those injuries, limitations, and whatever, you should still vision them out to this is where you're going with it, right? And I think that's where trainers, again, if you want to hold on to a client for a long time, you should be visioning strategically on those things, and at least, hey, those are your goals and aspirations, right? Just because somebody's hurt doesn't mean they can't move or reclaim a lot of that athleticism.
Absolutely. Great point, Doug. And this is the kind of stuff that people are going to learn in these live sessions, right? Ways to regress or progress some of these exercises, because the variation within a single exercise or movement pattern is tremendous. And there's no one way to do any of these.
You are correct.
Absolutely. So speaking of these live sessions, I love live education. And especially when it comes to equipment, Doug, there's nothing better than getting your hands on it and trying it, and then maybe watching somebody who doesn't look like you, isn't as strong as you, isn't built like you, do it as well, and get some tips on how to cue it, because cueing, that verbal part, is really tough for some trainers. How can people learn more about American Barbell's live seminars, and where can they connect with you?
Can reach me anytime, Doug at American Barbell. That's easy. You can find us on Instagram. We're on all the social channels. We're going to start posting a lot of the seminars on our website, so you'll see those. And the live seminar thing, since we've been doing them, I mean, the feedback we're getting is amazing, because to your point, I always say in the seminars, you can't coach what you haven't done.
Yes.
So you can read about it, look at videos, but until you actually, put your hand on a barbell and screw up and not move well, and then learn how to move well, I mean, and that's the stuff that makes you super valuable as a fitness professional, because you can speak from true practical experience.
Agreed. Amazing. So we will post the links for all of those in our description for this episode, you guys. We'll also share the link for ISSA partnered with American Barbell. We'll show you that link so you can see what we're offering as far as this partnership goes. For those of you guys who are members with ISSA, you do need to be logged in to take advantage of that discount that Doug mentioned. We want to make sure we keep it exclusive over here. So all you have to do is log in to your courses at isssatrainer.com. Along the top, you'll see the tab for professional division. Click on that. There's a section for exclusive benefits and discounts. When you click there, you'll see a list of all of our partners, including American Barbell, right there at the top, and it'll show you how you can redeem that discount. So Doug, thank you for joining me again. I know you're super busy out there in the world doing all the teaching and things.
Yeah, no, I'm happy. It's always good to talk to you. You're a breath of fresh air all the time. I appreciate you, appreciate what you're doing. So I'm happy to come on anytime.
Thank you so much. And hopefully you guys will see me at some of these American Barbell live sessions soon. Doug and I are going to connect.
Yes,
see what we can work out.
We are.
But thank you guys for listening. Thank you for being a part of ISSA, and we'll be talking to you soon, guys.